Shout out to a Victory Monday, baby. Hopefully everybody is doing good. Arthur Moats, of course, we are joined right now by the WRAL Channel 5 producer in Raleigh, North Carolina, Mark Bergin, on this beautiful, beautiful day where the Steelers took care of business versus the Indianapolis Colts, 27-20. What in the world is going on? Mark, talk to me, baby. How we feeling? You look sharp, by the way, man. I gotta compliment you, man. All right. I just peep all these little things you could be doing. First it was the lighting, then it was okay, you getting the microphone set up, kicked it right, background and everything. Now you even got the drip in terms of the fresh shave, the good hair. I'm like, yo, I see you, Mark. Is this what happens when we get big wins versus Colts? Like we just do all this. I'm just trying to figure out. All right, just so I could know you a little bit better.
You're spot on, Arthur. And yeah, I literally just shaved minutes before coming on here. So you got me down to a T. Had to get the workout in on a Victory Monday. Arthur, what I would tell you is this. Daniel Jones, he turned into a pumpkin. He's no longer Indiana Jones, at least in Pittsburgh post-Halloween. Now, why is that? Why is that, Arthur? The Pittsburgh Steelers, the two keys to this game, holding Jonathan Taylor in check, holding Tyler Warren in check, and the defense did both of those things. And then all of the turnover issues. Steelers defense hadn't had a takeaway since that late September game against the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
6 takeaways in Sunday's game, and they beat one of the NFL's best at home against the Colts. Arthur, fired up on this Monday and a lot better spirits than I have been compared to the previous 2 weeks.
Listen, that makes two of us, all right? You know how much better it feels when you're waking up and your team won and you get to come up here and we talk first thing in the morning after a victory? Oh, it feels way more refreshing versus daggone, we got beat. I had to sit and soak in it all yesterday. Then we got to get up, refresh it in the morning and be like, God dang, we did lose, huh? It wasn't a bad dream. So this feels way better. And obviously, man, there were some positives that took place, a lot of positives, but there's still things to clean up, as we know every game. But at the end, they found a way, man. And I would just say, man, I know the turnover model, right? For some people, they look at that as is, too far-fetched to bank on it, to feel like you can consistently rely upon it. But when you listen to the Steelers, how they talk, whether you're talking players or coaching staff, they talk about that as if that is truly a part of their game plan. And I think just based off of that mentality, that is why they do feel comfortable playing in some of these games the way that they do when the turnovers are happening versus even in games when they're not. I think they just know that this is something that we have to have. The same way we talk about that pass rush having to win, I think that they look at the turnovers and say that we have to have those as well. And that's different. It's a different approach than the norm, but when it works, it looks beautiful.
I really thought the turning point in Sunday's game, Arthur, was the strip sack fumble recovery by TJ Watt.
TJ,
7-0. You're in the first half. It looks like the Colts are going to go down and score again. The Steelers had really locked out because right before that, they had recovered the muffed punt, unable to score. We're going to talk about that decision, Arthur. We'll get to that. But I really felt that TJ Watt on that play really flipped the momentum of the game. And it goes back to your point that you made where it's like you got to rely on your money players, your money players making money plays. And that was the first of, at least defensively, the first of 5 takeaways the defense got. And then obviously, again, you had the muffed punt, the recovery that Eccles had on the punt as well. So I really thought that, the first half of that game, I was watching the first quarter, Arthur. I thought, I'm like, man, it might be 21-24-0 at halftime. I really felt that way watching the game yesterday.
Well, and the thing that was unique about it too is this. You were still seeing the Colts have success offensively. We remember that opening drive. They hit 2 big passes down the grass. One to Alec Pierce. I want to say it was 2 to Alec Pierce. And it was just like, okay, well, they're not trying to run the ball, but they're still having success with the deep play action pass, the deep over ball from Daniel Jones. But that second series ultimately was when TJ did create the strip sack. So from there, we did feel that momentum shift. But it never truly felt as if like, man, they can't move the ball at all. It just felt like they were becoming more one-dimensional. And part of that to me was I thought we did a good job early on versus Jonathan Taylor. And then the second part was it kind of felt like they abandoned it also. And sometimes we say, yeah, man, your job is to stop the run via you having to go out there and smash it, right? Physically. And then other times Yeah, man, when a coaching staff or a offense decides to just not go back to that and they want Daniel Jones to throw it 50 times, sometimes you allow teams to do that as well. But that was, how I was feeling early on in that game because the passing attack, like I said, they still were having success. I mean, we, especially in the stadium, man, the cornerbacks weren't the most, weren't receiving the most love in the building
I
at the
hear
time,
that.
all right?
I hear that. But holding Jonathan Taylor to a season low 45 yards rushing, and you're more 8 in the box, more single high with your safeties. And then, so that's one facet. And he only had 2 receptions as well. So when you consider, and especially early on too, in the first half splits, Taylor only ran the ball 8 times and Jones had 20 passing attempts, even in the first half. So
you saw the first drive. Think about the first drive. It was pass, 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 pass. All right, one little run.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I've been critical about the DBs, but if your game plan is to take away Jonathan Taylor, who went into this game as the NFL's leading rusher, Warren, who does not look like a rookie at all, has dominated opposing defenses, there's going to be other one-on-one opportunities. That's not to say that, okay, you have 200-yard receivers with the Colts, but to me, the game plan was neutralizing those 2 players with Taylor and Warren. Those have been the Colts' 2 playmakers. Like, when you close your eyes and you think of why has this Colts offense had success this year, there was a reason, at least going into this game, that Jonathan Taylor was part of the MVP discussion. So the fact that the Steelers took that component of the game away, and not to make excuses, but the Steelers also have a ton of injuries at the safety position. Kyle Duggar coming over.
Kyle Duggar, man. Shout out to Kyle Duggar.
I think every snap except one defensively, and then Jalen Ramsey playing the safety position as well. All things considered, is it perfect? No. But, the people that are saying, oh, well, you have to rely on takeaways. Would you rather they not take the football away? Like, I don't understand that really. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad we saw that. Look, Alex Highsmith was another player that showed up. Arthur, you had to have been thrilled with the play of Peyton Wilson, who might have played his best game as a Pittsburgh Steeler. 14 tackles, the interception of his own. He almost ran it back for a touchdown. And then the tip that led to Jack Sawyer's interception as well. He was everywhere for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I thought that, especially considering the Colts have dominated. Consider this. The Colts going into the game in 8 games had 4 total turnovers offensively. They turned the ball over 6 times in Sunday's game against the Steelers.
Exactly. And on top of that, it's not as if the Colts haven't played anybody that we would say are good teams, right? They've won tough games at home and on the road. They don't care who the opponent has been. Their, style of play has overwhelmed teams because they protect the ball. They run the football extremely well, and the play action pass element. That's why Tyler Warren had been so highlighted, because of how well they ran the football. But you watch this game and our playmakers, right? You've been hearing me talk about it for multiple weeks. When we're naming our outside linebackers, we're saying TJ Watt, who was once, just a couple of months ago, the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the game.
Yep.
We talk about Alex Highsmith. He doesn't have a small second contract. He has a nice size contract over there, right, with his pay grade. We talk about Cam Hayward as well. But then when you look at Peyton Wilson, high pedigree draft pick, we talk about Jack Sawyer, a dude that we didn't draft high. I mean, just depending on how you view it, right? Mid-round, 4th round. But as a whole, it's like, man, that's still an investment. When we talk about all those players that are making plays in the trenches, that's where the money is. That's where the draft picks are. And those are the guys that we have to rely upon. So when they do what they're supposed to do, in terms of why we compensate them, not to just be good players. You don't pay good players force multiplier money, right? When we talk about how much these guys are accounting for salary cap wise, that means their production typically should account for X amount of players also. We got that this time. When we talk about TJ Watt, the strip sack, not just from a momentum standpoint, but taking away the football and at the time where it was on the field, right? Critical. You need that. We talk about Alex Highsmith, man. People have been wanting to trade Alex Highsmith, bench Alex Highsmith. Not that anything he has done wrong outside of Herbig just played well. And he reminds everybody why you keep Alex Highsmith, why you don't trade Alex Highsmith, why this dude can take over a game as well. And you saw that. But then you look at Jack Sawyer, it's like, oh man, Johnny on the spot. You keep being around at the right time. Peyton Wilson, you talk about him having a heck of a game. I also agree with that. Not only did he lead the team in tackles defensively, I just want to talk about a sequence, right? Everybody looks at the interception that he had, and they're like, man, that was insane. Look at the kickoff coverage prior to the first defensive snap. Who's covering the kick? Who's making the tackle on the kick? It's Peyton freaking Wilson. Not only is he starting making plays on defense, he's still giving everything he has on special teams as well. To me, it was beautiful to see that because it shows that not only is he taking his main job serious, which is starting on defense, but he's also taking the special teams role just as important, just as serious. And we see in these type of games, all three phases matter. Do we get out of that stadium if we don't recover the muff punt? Right? Do we get out of that stadium if we have any type of negative turnovers or negative plays on special teams, right? We know they had the 4th and 1 conversion, but it balanced out because we got the muff. But those are the things that we're looking at. And we're saying we have to make sure that we're clean in all the margins to beat the teams that we all view as really good, right? And they showed yesterday that when they are clicking, they are able to do that. And that was the refreshing part.
4 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 TFLs for Alex Highsmith. And you mentioned the complementary football piece. It was the takeaways and then the offense going down and scoring touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 24 consecutive points at one point for the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. So putting the defense, putting the offense in favorable field position and the offense taking advantage with the shorter field, because short of Rodgers offensively, and he had 200 and some change throwing the ball, the Steelers couldn't really run the ball yesterday. It was less than 2 yards per carry against the Colts. So that's where the complementary football facet really, really matters. And we're going to look back on this season, Arthur, and say, well, how did the Steelers beat the Colts, who are likely be a playoff team? How did they beat the Patriots, who are likely a playoff team? In both of those games, they dominated the turnover battle. And I don't think that it was totally reflective, the final score of the Steelers had that game well in hand. I think they could have won by more.
24-7 at one point in the fourth quarter. Yeah. So,
and at that point, you're just playing to protect the lead. You don't want to make a silly mistake. And the clock is as big of a deficit for the Colts as the score.
Hold on,
is the
Mark,
score deficit.
Hold on, Mark. What did you say you don't want to do?
Did I say something?
What? You don't want to make a silly mistake, Lord. We don't want to jump.
Okay.
We don't want to jump.
I know where you're going.
We don't want to jump.
I know where you're going.
All right.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought this up. I'm glad you brought this up.
I'm glad you brought it up, man.
All right. Did you hear it was Ben Skoranek as he was walking off the field?
Yes.
Man, I think you learned from it.
Passion.
Roman Wilson, I think, he didn't really play hardly at all as a rookie. It's a rookie mistake, man. And you learn from it. Another thing, not just jumping the ball in the air, but he's on the left side of the field. Tuck the ball away in your left arm, not your right arm.
Yes.
So
it matters, the little details, because if you were to fumble, if it's in your left arm, the probability of it maybe going out of bounds are higher versus when it's on the inside. You can see that's where all the pursuit is coming from. So yeah, we're on the same page.
The audio picked it up, and you can check that out on Twitter.
Man.
On that. Oh man.
Shout out to Ben Skoranek, though, man. He had a day, man. He was out there making plays as well on special teams, man. Had a nice big tackle.
Could you hear that on the sideline? I knew you were at the sideline at the game.
Yeah, absolutely you can. Yes, you can. Yes. But it's one of those things where obviously, when we get it secondhand from the media source, or even if you're in the crowd listening, we're going to perceive that a lot differently than the players are. When you're on the field, man, we are so entrenched in we don't care about personal feelings. We're only trying to win. So if I say something, it's out of love, but if it's facts, it's facts. Take your feelings out of it. That is the hardest thing for the average person that has never played at the professional level to grasp. The hard conversations, the statements that get made out there. Shut the F up, man. Do your job. I'm saying that because I love you. If you say that to a regular person, they're going to take that in a way different manner. So for Ben Skoranek to say, yo, why the F are you jumping? You know what I mean? Stop jumping. It's like, Yo, because in that moment right there, we don't need you to be making acrobatic plays. We need ball security. We need you to stay in bounds. And we need to make sure we're controlling this clock. So you turning this ball over right here puts us in a bind. It makes our defense have to go back out there. And now we have to potentially be exposed to some negativity. It could get weird, right? I know y'all saw the end of that Bengals Bears game. It can get weird, all right? It can get weird.
8 lead changes in that game.
Right. Think about it, though. It can get weird. You just never know. So it's like, man, all of those things, when you're out there, you're like, bro, we don't have time for any mistakes. Now, granted, we know human error happens. And the same way we're looking at Roman Wilson this week is no different than 4 weeks ago when we were talking about Caleb Johnson. It's like, man, young players go through this the same way veteran players make mistakes. You don't think that those two mistakes were bad? Okay, well, what about when Jalen Ramsey dropped his coverage versus the Bengals, right? Critical third down. We talked about that just as impactful. So all of us, whether we're talking star players or young players, go through that. But the beautiful thing is when the guys rally around them. And that's what you want to see. They rallied around Caleb Johnson. We saw Caleb Johnson start to get more opportunities. I'm waiting to see for Roman Wilson how the guys rally around him with this adversity and how he's going to come back from it, because that's all it is, man. The same way you can have a great game and then the next week, man, I ain't play as well. All right, you can have a bad game. And at times, man, you come back that next week and now you show everybody, yo, you can believe in me. This is why they brought me here. This is why they trust me. So that's what I'm eager to see with Roman. But I understand Ben Skronik's passion 100%. Oh, man.
I was
but
very
also for note, and I'll say also for note real quick, he didn't direct it to Roman Wilson. It wasn't like he turned towards Roman and said that. He was walking off and it was just like, yo, just in the moment. So just also for context as well.
I was surprised considering how poorly the Steelers ran the ball. That time of possession wasn't as lopsided as it was. So the Steelers had the ball for a little bit more than 28 minutes. And Arthur, they showed on the graphic, second to worst in time of possession in the NFL. I've been harping on that with the Steelers offense. So I credit Aaron Rodgers for keeping it as close as he did in terms of keeping the offense on the field and the defense off of it against a high-powered Colts offense, despite the fact that the Steelers defense held them in check. Now, I do want to get to this point. I want to have this conversation. Early on in the game.
Here we go.
Yes. You know exactly where we're going with this.
I'll wait.
Early on in the game, 4th and 3. And this is where I differ from my opinion from the 4th and inches earlier.
I know it.
Down, here's what I'm going to say to you, Arthur. Down, distance, game situation. First quarter, you're down only 7. You're on the Colts 4-yard line. It's 4th and 3. 4th and 3 is longer than 4th and inches. 4th and inches to put the game away versus 4th and 3 in the first quarter. And it's a shorter distance. I wanted the points there. I wanted the Boswell points there. It didn't end up mattering, but I wanted the 3 there. I didn't think that was the right decision considering it's first quarter, longer distance on 4th and short versus 4th and inches where it's like tush push, quick run, jumbo set in there. I think it's okay to have differing opinions, and I go down distance situation compared to when we had this discussion several weeks back in a short yardage scenario, Arthur. I wanted the points there.
It sounded rather conservative. It sounded rather, living in your fears. That's all I'm saying from my perspective. Because to me, when I thought of the Colts, right, coming into this game, how much did they average scoring per game? Was it 7 points? Was it 10 points? Was it around 30? Oh, it was around 30. Yeah. So when we talk about the Colts and we were saying, hey, man, we came out the opening drive, they went right down the field, right? It took them 8 tries within 5 yards to score, but they still went for it twice on 4th down. They were not tripping. They scored 7 points, and we were all looking like, all right, we better be able to match that energy, right? So when we get to 4th and 3, it's like, yo, if we truly feel like we have to match their energy and everybody is so panicked about how bad our defense is, we can't stop the run, we can't stop the pass. If all of these factors, all these variables, all this information was readily available to us prior to the game, why would we get out there on 4th and 3 in, it's 4th and goal from the 3 and not try to be aggressive and not try to score 7 points to match that? More people have been feeling confident about our offense than they've been about our defense. Even to the point where when Coach Tomlin decides to put the defense out there at times, we'll question, like, why would you do that? Even when it works out. So to me, I'm just looking like, yeah, this was him being a little bit more progressive. This was him showing that, hey, I don't have to be stuck in my ways and do it my way every single time. It's all right. Aaron Rodgers, you think you could do it? Hey, Arthur Smith, y'all want to take this chance? You know what? Let's go for it. I looked at it like that. But then I also said, this is Coach Tomlin's mindset. If you don't make it, you still got 97 yards to go. Now, 97 yards to go, your thought process is they might get yardage, they might have success, but they should not score a touchdown. And it worked out. Shout out to TJ Watt. It did work out, but that was kind of the mindset from, my perspective on it. But yeah, I was like, man, shoot, if you know this team scores touchdowns, they're averaging dang near 30. Field goals aren't going to get it done today. And that was, how I kind of perceived that decision and why I was cool with it.
That's contrary to what Mike Tomlin typically does, though. If you look at fourth down, going forward on fourth down in terms
of, that's why I said progressive. That's why I was like, he was showing that I don't have to be set in my ways.
The Steelers
and that's
are
one of the things that people knock them for.
Compared to some of the other teams in the league, I know like last year, Detroit, Washington was a big win a year ago.
I mean, shoot, Colts were 5 of 5 on fourth down. They were extra
Philly,
aggressive.
Yeah. The fake punt as well.
Oh, yeah.
Again, and people are going to say, like, Mark, well, you wanted to go for it weeks ago, and then this time you wanted the points. Again, down.
You were playing not to lose, man. You were playing not to lose.
Okay,
it's all right.
Okay.
That's what that comes off as.
I can't wait.
You were a little fearful of it, man. It's all right.
You get roasted in the inter chat. It's funny because, Arthur, you've also flip-flopped here, too. But, hey, go back and watch the tape.
I like the aggressiveness.
The tape doesn't lie. The tape does not lie.
I liked it. That's why I said, hey, I'm cool. If you want to try something different, let's try something different. And it didn't even work. That's the other part. Like, I should, based on how we handled the first go around, I should be up here ultra critical of it, right? This is why you don't go. But it's like, no, man, this is why you do it if you're going to do it. You're going to be thoughtfully aggressive about it. Let's do it. But I'll also say, mindset-wise, I don't feel like you're playing to lose I don't feel like you're playing to win just because you go for it on fourth and 2 or whatever that was in that Vikings game when we decided to punt it and then make them have to march it. It's like, I don't look at that decision as you're playing to lose. I looked at it as, you're putting your defense out there because if it doesn't work, as we've seen, we're not going to say 4th and inches is 100% success rate because it's not. You're putting that Vikings offense out there dang near at midfield. That's not what any of us would want to have had happen. So that's why I'm like, I look at those situations also a little bit differently, whereas one, you're going 90 plus yards and it's not going to kill you if it doesn't work out. Whereas the other one, if it doesn't work out, they got 40, 50 yards they got to go. And we know how high powered that offense was even at times in the game. I just look at that situation still a little bit differently, but that's why I was like, we agree to disagree on it, man. But I like it though. I like it.
I tell you what, though, once they started the takeaways and it just one after another.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they just needed the one, and it was just like we unlocked Pandora's box. The energy. What was the energy like of the players? Because on the field, it just looked like there was finally the swagger that you think of when you think of a Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Well, Mark, I was down there at the game, man, and I'll just say they had that Super Bowl 40 team in the building, 05. Represented. The energy was electric, man, from start to finish, because those dudes were down there on the sideline during the whole warm-up period. They would talk to them. They were with them in the locker room for a little bit, man. It's like, you knew what it was. Everybody coming into this thing, do not embarrass these dudes out here. Coach Tomlin talked about it the night before. You heard about Jalen Ramsey talking to the guys. You got freaking Bill Cowher, Big Ben Roethlisberger pulling up to the walkthroughs. It's like, everybody knows what this weekend is, and everybody knows that nobody's giving the Steelers a chance. And what do we always say about Coach Tomlin? This is when he thrives, when he gets a chance to play the underdog role. Because for the majority of his career, at this standpoint, we're always the big dog and everybody's chasing us. So it's always refreshing when you get a chance to do hey, man, nobody believes in us. Nobody thinks that we can. Hey, man, we got Kyle Duggar starting at safety, who we just traded for 3 days ago. And we're going to play Jalen Ramsey at safety, who hasn't played full-time safety and who knows when. Hey, James Pierre, you're going to be thrown into action multiple times because Darius Slay is going to be dealing with some injuries. It doesn't matter, man. We're going to find a freaking way, man. And that's what you want to see. That's the motivational part. But that was the part, the energy that you could just feel across the board. Those guys weren't looking for excuses or reasons to not get it done. Whereas I feel like at times us as consumers, man, because we're not in there and we don't get a chance to actually control it, sometimes we're looking like, okay, where's the glass going to fall at, right? Where's the other shoe going to fall at? When is the bottom going to fall out? Whereas for the players, we're like, yo, who can make the play to show us why we're going to win today? Hey man, who's gonna be the one to step up today? Hey Ben Skronik, they ain't heard of you just yet, man. Make a play today. Hey Peyton Wilson, they think you suck. How about you go out there and lead them in tackles, get you a pick, cause another pick as well? Hey man, Highsmith, they've been wanting to get rid of you, bro. Why don't you go out there and have a day? That's the mindset of the team. That's the mindset of those guys that are out there each and every week, and that's why you see them show up versus teams that on paper they shouldn't be able to be on the same field as, and win in a manner where at points in this game it was dominant. Like I said, it was 24-7 at one point. We're over here like, all right, guys, how do we waste these final 10 minutes of the game? Which was very refreshing because we don't really get that a lot.
Especially against a really good team.
Man,
Joey Porter Jr. talked about it after the game too, and he had an interception. They showed the cutaway shot to his dad going crazy.
Oh, it went nuts.
Yeah, man.
And that's super cool too, man. Obviously, it's the second time that we've had a chance to have big Joey Porter in stadium while little JPJ makes a big play. First time I remember versus the Ravens, him catching the interception versus Odell in the end zone.
I was at that game. I was at that game.
Crazy. So you know the energy there, baby. Heck yeah, it was electric, man. Yeah. So to see that happen again, Pops also in stadium, man. Love that for both of those guys, man. And I'm selfish because I got my relationship with them as well. So I'm always like, yeah, man, keep it going, man. Let everybody know y'all like that, all right? But it was beautiful to see, man.
Was there anyone you saw this weekend that you were psyched to see? Because I know you were there, and again, I know a lot of the teams for the 2005 team was also there. Yeah. Was there anyone you saw where you were like, you hadn't seen in a while that was good to see this past weekend?
So the good thing about the 05 guys, a good amount of them we do see. Like they'll come back around, and with me doing some of the interview stuff like that, I get to see a lot of those guys. Peasy is always my favorite, man, just because that was the dude that I freaking was doing his celebration at times when I was in high school, combining his celebration and Sean Merriman's lights out. They're going to hit you with the light switch and then we'll kick it on you at the end. Like, yeah. So you go from that to him, you know, you playing in the league against him at one point, then he's coaching you at one point. Then you're watching his son grow up. Then you're watching his son play in high school. Now you're watching his son ball in the league. It's like, man, anytime I get to see Peasy, it's always an awesome time. But I got to talk to one of my like super old school warships is what I like to call my 70s Steelers champions, man. Larry Brown, 4-time champ, man, tight end, right tackle, Steelers Hall of Honor guy, man. Got a chance to talk with him, interview with him, man. So that was the fun part for me, man, because like I said, I see a lot of the other guys like Hamp, man. You'll see him, Ike T, man. Those guys, they come around a lot. But the older guys, it's like, dang, man, we don't get to see the USS Larry Brown pull up too often, man. But it was cool, man. They had it was a Mel Blunt floating around out there. Yeah, come on now. When they bring them warships out, you're like, okay, it's a big one today. Yeah. So that was for me, man. Anytime I get to see those guys, man, I'm just always really respectful and just really fond of what they did because we're standing on their backs, right? The work that they put, the foundation. Yep. We talk about the Steelers, the Super Bowl championships. We talk about this organization and the relevance that it's had throughout the years. It started on the backs of those guys in the 70s, man. When you talk about the Super Bowl 9, first Super Bowl champ, you're like, bro, think about how many Super Bowls we've had since then. But that's where it started at. And these dudes, you know, were the foundation pieces for that. So like I said, man, it was always just cool when you get a chance to bump into those guys.
Yeah, Troy Polamalu mentioned this in his Hall of Fame speech where there's not many organizations that will draft your eventual replacement, but there's, hey, here's how you go about this. Yeah, here's how you navigate the league. Here's how you navigate Pittsburgh. This is what it means to be part of this organization. And to see that, I saw some of the clips, too, that they had Saturday night. They had some festivities and a lot of the former players got to speak on a panel, and I've had the chance to talk with Dick LeBeau one time in my life too.
Dick LeBeau,
legend, and to say that like the attention he commands from a room and just how forward thinking he was in terms of, you know, conversations we have, Arthur, about, okay, should they have gone for it on fourth down or not, and the metrics, and if they can do these things, you win the game. He had that bright mind before even data and analytics were fully incorporated into the league 20 years ago. So he had that foresight to see where the league was heading to say, with his fire zone scheme to say, if, we can prevent an opposing team from getting a 15 or 20-yard play for the entire game, our odds of winning go up so significantly. To think about that, I thought it was really cool that they paid homage to all of the different players that were there. I know Roethlisberger was there, Jerome Bettis was there, a lot of the great players that were on that team, and it was special to see.
Man, you had James Ferrier, my old coach Larry Foote walking around. I'm like, oh, baby, oh, the nostalgia is hitting.
Yeah, man.
And the fact that the game also lived up to it, man, and we got the result, it just made it that much better, because it's bad, man, when you see the guys come around and you lose that game. It is a sick feeling. It is sick. You don't even want to look at them in their eyes. You're just like, oh my God, we really did this to you guys. Ain't no way. It's no way we did this. It's no way. We apologize. The most sincerest of apologies, right? So to see that those guys took care of business, man, and did it against a high quality opponent, man, like I said, it means something, man. And hopefully it's something that we can continue to build upon, right? We talk about the seasons, how it kind of goes in waves, right? Or even every 4 games, right? We call it a quarter of a season, right? Every quarter. It's like, man, we kind of were a little lumped up this quarter, man. You know what I mean? We talk about the 2 L's we took back to back. So hopefully these next 4 games, man, we could get in a better rhythm, man, and ultimately build upon this thing, because that's what it's going to take for us to get to where we want to be. But we know that what we're trying to figure out right now is what gets us there the closest. Is it leaning heavily on turnovers? Is this something that we can truly figure out how to do more and more of? I look at this and say, man, we figured out ways to have 5+ turnovers in multiple games this season, which is crazy in that regard. But can we find a little bit more balance, a little bit more consistency, where it's not 2 games with 0 turnovers at all? Maybe it's, 1 or 2 turnovers in those games. Like, that's where we're trying to find a little bit more of that balance, so it's not just so high drop off, because right now we're feeling real extreme in certain aspects of us.
Tuesday, 4:00 Eastern is the NFL trade deadline.
What we doing, Mark? There's been some rumors out there, man.
I still want the receiver too. I don't know. You might have to give up a little bit more draft capital that you want to get a player that could actually make some impact. And to do that mid-season is tough.
We did that for Duggar in a way. We'll see how long it lasts, but at least week 1 of Duggar being here, it only cost us a
pick swap,
flipping a 6th and a 7th,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
a late round pick swap.
So maybe because of where we're at in the season, it won't kill us in terms of what we're trying to get, but Kyle Duggar's situation also in New England, he was the odd man out at that standpoint, whereas we're not necessarily looking for odd man out. We're looking for a guy that can come in and contribute.
They held DK in check. The Steelers really struggled to run the ball.
Yeah.
You've got depth at the tight end.
Tight ends look good.
Get depth at tight end, depth at edge rush. I would give up a draft pick to someone who could come in and contribute for a solid wide receiver too. I mean, I don't need Randy Moss. But
I appreciate that, though. I appreciate you saying you would give up a draft pick. Like, some people, man, they hold on to these draft picks as if they're the holy grail. And it's like, dude, take a proven player over this mystery that is a draft pick.
The Steelers have 12 picks next year. I think it's someone could double check me on this. I think it's 12 picks next year.
Yeah.
So
it was definitely for 100% 12 picks prior to the season starting. I don't know, based on the Duggar move, how that may or may not have impacted it, but we were crazy high with draft pick capital prior to the season starting, man.
Yeah. So to me, that's immediately the most glaring. And then, defensively, sure, maybe defensive back given the injuries, but then you just traded for Kyle Duggar. So I know they had worked out, was it Eddie Jackson and was it Von Bell the week before, and they decided to make the Duggar move instead. Yeah. So I think you're okay there for now. I'm not going to say the secondary is world beaters, Arthur, but to me, it's still the wide receiver too, which is to me the most glaring need where you could make an upgrade.
Yeah, I'm with you on wide receiver too. Because I'd also say this. We know Deshaun Elliott, he's on IR for right now. We'll see if he's able to make it back. But Jabril Peppers isn't gone. Chuck Clark isn't going to be gone for the whole season, from my understanding. obviously it was very bad timing that both of those dudes, weren't going to be full participants this weekend. And I think that's what that's what made the Kyle Duggar move even that much sweeter. But I don't think that I don't think that they're viewing, Jalen Ramsey as a full time, you have to play safety because we don't have anything else out there. I think this was, hey, man, we are in a bind and we have to find a way. And I think that's also why he addressed the team to kind of let the people know, like, we're not looking for, a reason to not be successful. If you're here, you're good enough. And we don't need you to be the best in the world. No, we just need you to be better than the Colts. That's it. Just be better than them. And that's what we were. So I'm interested. I'm interested to see when we get to Wednesday and Thursday what the practice report in terms of participation looks like. We know this past week, man, Coach T was pissed off with the guys, right? Had all the vets out there practicing on Wednesday. So we'll see if he does that again. I mean, it worked. It worked.
Okay, I'm glad you noticed that. I'm glad you noticed that.
It worked.
Yeah.
And you even heard Aaron Rodgers say it too. Aaron Rodgers said that, man, we have some of the younger players are realizing now that practice is connected to how you play in the game. If you practice well, you have a good week of practice, you typically have a better chance of having a good weekend or a good game. And even to the point where we have broken it down to, man, if your Wednesday practice was good, typically your Mondays are good because that's what you're focusing on Wednesdays. Heck, if your Thursday practice is good, usually your second and third quarter could be good because that's the type of plays you're focusing on there. If Friday is clean, is good, situational, you're buttoned up, everything is nice, well, you should be buttoned up in the most critical, weighty moments in the fourth quarter as well. And that's what we try to reflect. And now it's not always an exact science, but dang on, I know from my experiences, even dating back to college, I could point to it and say, and we were being pissed off about it because our coaches would highlight it and emphasize it. And it wasn't just one of them. So there is a correlation, but the big issue at this level is the health. And you're always trying to balance work, guys getting better, guys continuing to have skill development, and guys' overall well-being. We looked at Darius Slay, right? Darius Slay looked banged up at times in the game, and that's what you're trying to combat against. You don't want your veteran players to look labored at times. But how do I get them prepared for the game to see everything, to mentally be reacting the way that they need to react, and then physically be able to respond also without them practicing on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? So that's, that balance that the coaching staff in terms of Coach Tomlin has to kind of maneuver through.
I think receiver 2 is a need. I'm just talking out loud here, Arthur. I don't have any inside information about this.
Yes, you
at
do,
all.
Mark. Don't you minimize it, Mark. Yes, you do.
Don't.
Yes, you do. Tell us the secrets.
Running back? Like, because you've got Warren and Gainwell. I know Caleb Johnson he's done okay with the few touches he's gotten since that opener, but to say, could they get a totally, we're going into the Chargers week. It's supposed to be the Najee Harris Bowl. He's out for the year with the Achilles injury. Steelers do look out considering Joe Alt is likely to be out. Slater,
Noah
their other
Marion
tackle.
Hampton.
Yes.
That was the one. Thank you.
So some key injuries to the Chargers that Pittsburgh is not going to have to worry about on Sunday Night Football in Week 10. But I'm looking at this, and it's and it's not that. I mean, Warren and Gainwell, they run hard, but more of that bruiser stuff.
Gainwell has definitely grown on me. I was not the biggest fan of that move when we first did it because I thought he was too similar to Warren, but he plays well, man.
They run hard, man.
Even on special teams, you watch him in the return game, it's like, yo, this dude, I like him, man.
But could you make an upgrade there for not giving up that much draft capital? What I'm looking at, Arthur, is when you take DK away, which the Colts did.
Yeah.
And some of that's drops and everything too. I get it. But then you've got the tight ends, and then Warren and Gainwell will run hard. I just want another playmaker offensively that can help ease the load.
They're trying to make Darnell Washington that. He just got to catch it. Be more consistent, baby. Because think about this. If he catches that and it's a touchdown, how we feel about offense, how we feel about the tight ends, we already are confident in the tight ends. But watching tight ends score touchdowns just adds to that confidence. So I look at all of those little things like that, and it's like, yeah, man, it didn't kill us in the game. But in terms of our confidence level, there's a reason why we're not chomping at the bit to see Caleb Johnson right now in comparison to when we first drafted him. The conversation was he's going to be starting. He will be RB1. It's just like, man, We haven't seen enough positivity from him just yet to make us feel that belief. So that's why I was like, I understand 100% what you're saying about the running back issue, or even the idea of going to get one. The beautiful thing is this, and I can't even take credit for this because I hate it, but I do feel like it is true. Shout out to Terrence Garvin for that, TG. You can find running backs, man.
That's what I'm saying.
You can find running backs, man. As much as I hate it because I feel like it undercuts their argument when it's time to get compensated, there is some validity to the ability to find backs. If your O-line is doing what they need to do, you can almost plug and play those dudes, man. I don't want to fully discredit them because there are some outliers. But yes, you can find some of these guys a little bit more easy than you can find a wide receiver too, or even a cornerback. So in that space, yes, it doesn't hurt for us to be a little bit more aggressive, or to even just say, we're not putting the nail in the coffin on Caleb Johnson. We're just saying that he's not ready for the role that we need him to be in right now. So let's go ahead and make that move in terms of getting in a bruiser maybe, or somebody to just add that Najee Harris role, right? That's what we thought Caleb Johnson would be at this standpoint, and kind of go from there. So that is definitely an option. And I also feel like going that route, it wouldn't necessarily overhaul what we want to do offensively. We do a lot of 13 personnel, 12 personnel, 12 personnel with the extra offensive lineman when everybody's healthy. We know Isaac Seumalo went down for a little bit, so Spencer Henderson had to go and play in the at the guard spot. But when we're able to still maintain that big body personnel grouping and make you have to react to that run and make you feel that threat, it will still play into what Arthur Smith wants to do with what Aaron Rodgers wants to do in company. Whereas the wide receiver too, depending on who you get, it could alter just how we want to do things because that guy's going to need to get some targets.
I'm with you. And it's like, could you give up a mid to late round pick for a running back to do for a 1 year rental? Be a 1 year rental. And I look at the play down on the goal line, Arthur, of like, well, why are you talking about this? The bootleg Aaron Rodgers had where he was going for the pylon and there were two Colts defenders.
Yo, I'm like,
don't get
killed out here, Rodgers. Do not get killed out here, Rodgers. What are you doing, Rodgers? Get down, Rodgers. Get down. Yes.
Get down, throw it away.
Oh, my God. Don't take that shot. Please, dude, God, what are you doing?
The season flashed before my eyes. Like, I was just like...
Yes. Why are you doing this to us? That's what I was like, why?
And I think
why would you do this?
I think the defenders let up a little bit because they knew they would get flagged or ejected or whatever. But I was just like,
you're gonna kill the old man. Don't kill the old man out here.
I can't imagine what was going through his mind. But from the viewer standpoint, watching on TV, I was just like, man, this season might be over like that.
I just want to say, it looked like he changed his mind pre-running. It looked like before he got hit, because I'm like, I've seen Rodgers put that foot in the ground, get north and south head first, let's get after it. That did not necessarily look like that to me. That looked like, all right, I think I got.
How that relates to the running back is you have a stud running back that can move the pile and is, say 220 plus. You could just hand the ball to the running back in that
absolutely
situation. That's what I'm talking about there. But
because we were too far for the Connor Hayward special, all right? Otherwise, it was call in the lefty, get Connor out here, all right? You know what time it is, man. But yeah,
are there any other spots? I mean, I know like defensive back's been an area of concern, and to me, this is where.
Go ahead.
What I was going to say is, Freiermuth has also been in those trade discussions. Some of the rumors and rumblings online. I know Alex Highsmith's been in those conversations. To me, keep those players for depth purposes. You don't have Aaron Rodgers on your roster unless you're going to try to make a run.
Right.
What other areas do you think the Steelers could upgrade? But that, to explain myself, Arthur, that's the reason why I would go the draft capital routes, because you have Rodgers on your roster. You're going for it. Are there any other areas you think Pittsburgh could upgrade between now and Tuesday afternoon?
To me, I'm still looking at corner. I know, you bring in Kyle Duggar, but that to me is a safety / nickel. And I still don't prefer him at nickel because his game is still, I feel like he thrives more when he's in a physical tackling role versus having to do more of the coverage stuff. And when we put Ramsey at safety, you kind of lose his ability to play as much nickel as we like him to do, being around the line of scrimmage, blitzing, tackling, getting his hands on footballs, matching up. So I do feel like, man, if we're going to still be kind of flirting with some of the injuries that we're having on the secondary, instead of trying to see if Darius Slay will be able to, healthy wise, hold up, man, let's get another piece in here. It doesn't have to be a elite piece, but I still want to have another quality piece, because what happens is this, man, when Slay goes down, now James Pierre has to go out there, and now we're over here saying, well, we don't have any other options. So JPJ, that hammy, everything better be fine with that. Hey, Ramsey, I know you out here hitting folk. Well, I don't care. You better stay up, man. We ain't got time for you to go down. It just puts a lot more stress on the depth. And as the season goes on, man, we know it's not going to get any easier. So that part, to me, I do feel I would rather go there, because as much as I would love to just say, yeah, the secondary doesn't matter, man, as long as our pass rush does what they do, we'll be fine. Pass rush, unfortunately, has been inconsistent at times this season. So to me, if I just sit here because we just played the Colts and we look good and we're like, yeah, man, D-line, we good. I ain't worried about none of that. Throw whoever back there. To me, I think I'll be living in the moment. Whereas when I look at what we've seen throughout the first 9 weeks of the season, I've seen some inconsistency with that. And that's why we've been critical of them at points. But I do feel like, man, just adding another piece in the cornerback room will help mitigate some of the quick success routes, right? We don't mind receivers beating us down the grass. We say, yeah, man, that's on pass rush. They got to win. But when dudes getting beat off the line of scrimmage, and that was the Bengals game, right? When it was the slants, the quick stuff, that's tough. That's tough to deal with. So that's the reason why I do look at the cornerback room and say I would go there.
And the guy I think of who would normally be able to help with that, Corey Trice Jr., just hasn't been able to stay on the field. The injuries, where
healthy, man. I love Corey, man. That's my dude,
you're in
man.
the tub is the old slogan, but it's like he's just been ravaged by injuries. Like you can say Joey Porter Jr. has dealt with some injuries, but Corey Trice Jr., this is where he was in the same draft class as JPJ's, where he would be able to help and do the things exactly what you're saying, Arthur. But when your best ability is availability, and when you can't stay healthy, again, that for lack
it's
of
a lot
word,
that goes into playing. Yeah, it's a lot that goes into playing at this level. It's not just talent. Some people think, man, because you're big and fast, you're going to be great. And it's like, dude, you got to be available. You also have to be able to study. You have to be able to replicate it week in and week out, home, away, early in the morning, late at night. You also have to be able to do it when you don't feel your best, right? When the variables aren't in your favor. Also, one of the big misconceptions that I always enjoy whenever you see on social media and everybody's like, well, I can make that play, I could do this. It's like, we're not saying that you don't have the ability to do it, but the question is, can you do it under pressure? We could say a 2, and this is my man, Danny Smith. Let me get a 2x4. Mark, I'm going to put this 2x4 on the ground right in front of you. I'm going to tell you to walk across it. You'll moonwalk across that thing, not even think twice about it. I take that same 2x4 and I put it on top of a skyscraper downtown Pittsburgh and say, hey, Mark, walk across this. You shaking like a stripper. We know it. That's the reality of it, right? Performance under pressure, because the consequences for if you don't make this play when you're on that skyscraper, deadly, right? Same way when you're on that field in an NFL game, when you don't make that play, it's deadly. It's monumental to you. So that's the part where it's like, yeah, man, anybody can throw a football, can catch it, can make a tackle. Absolutely, you can, yeah. But these are all things you have to do, and that's what makes it such a challenge for younger players to make it at this level. And I hope for Corey Trice, man, just from a career standpoint, that he can get whatever he needs to do from a health standpoint to give him a fair shake. But at the same time, it's like, how many teams are going to continue to give him opportunities now going forward when you're saying this guy isn't year 1 out the league now or out of college, not year 2 out of college, and you're not necessarily getting a ton of on-field reps? What makes the team say, I would want to deal with that versus going back and just hitting the reset button on another young draft pick coming out? So those are some of the things that he is going to have to fight against going forward, man. But that's the NFL, man. That's where we live in.
When you make me walk across said 2x4 in downtown Pittsburgh, Arthur, I want a massive wad of gum like Danny Smith has to take my mind off what it is that I have to do. Can trick my brain into walking across the plank.
There it is. And just like Danny Smith, how he was ahead of the curve with the rule books. Look at you being ahead of the curve. He's like, you know what? Let me plan for my mental. Let me just get some bubble gum. All right, just get the bazooka. Okay, big bazooka.
I just gave us the podcaster's curse on this episode too, whether you realize this or not. Pittsburgh's making a move now between now and the deadline. It's just like as soon as you click publish on this episode, Arthur, we're going to find out what people are like. Well, we're recording this Monday morning. Why didn't you talk about this move? We got you here on the Arthur Moats Experience. We got you here on the channel. But I can't tell you how many times that podcast is out.
Always.
And then, 30 minutes later, you find out news and everything changes. I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
So, that's what it's going to be, man. But either way, as long as it's after a victory, we'll live with it. All right. So Steelers feeling good. We feeling good right now with this dub. And final thoughts before we get up out of here. Anything left before we go, man?
Let's keep this rolling Sunday night. And again, what I will say this, I got to do more breakdown between now and then. So I'll have the preview out here on this channel with you, Arthur.
You know the people looking for it, man. The people waiting on you now. Come on now.
You got two things. Deadline, 4:00 Eastern Tuesday. See if Pittsburgh are buyers. So you got that. And then number two, the Steelers are very fortunate. Najee Harris, Marion Hampton not playing. Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater, your two starting offensive tackles.
Delete.
Yeah. So Pittsburgh, very fortunate. Arthur, in such better spirits today, man. I'm in so much of a better mood than I have been the last 2 weeks. So a pleasure as always. And I'll let you wrap it up here. But Arthur, thank you again. It's a pleasure, man.
No, absolutely, man. It's always a blast when we get to do this. And I guess my final thoughts would be shout out to Joe Flacco and the Bengals offense. All right. Shout out to Joe Flacco and the Bengals offense. We appreciate y'all for tuning in, bro. Hopefully y'all enjoyed yourselves. If you did, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, baby. Peace.